From MTN News, you're watching Montana This Morning.
It's too late to mail in your election ballots, but you can still get your vote counted even if you don't want to risk standing in line at a polling place. How you can do that, coming up.
And a Whitefish Montana company still has not been paid for $100 million worth of work it did rebuilding Puerto Rico's energy grid after a devastating hurricane. How the company is fighting to get what it is owed is also ahead this morning.
Well, happy Wednesday, Southwest Montana. It is just ahead of 6:30. Chet Lehman, Ashley.
Again?
I did it again.
Really? Wowzers.
Is that your middle name?
No.
What is your middle name?
Deanna.
Deanna. I'm going to call you Deanna from now on. I'll remember that.
Oh my gosh.
I don't know why I have the hardest time with that. Because we just hired Ashley in sports department.
Yeah.
I guess. I'm going to give that,
Holly
and Ashley's
Bradley.
a lovely girl.
That's
I'm
it.
speechless this time. I was ready for it last time.
I don't know. Everybody has to have a nickname. Apparently yours is
Mine is Ashley.
I don't know
Whatever
what the deal
works.
is. Holly Brantley, Chet Lehman, and Mark Elwell.
All right, thanks, Ralph.
What's in a name?
Jeez,
What's in a name?
that's it.
It's Monday again, right?
2.5-hour show. I'm good for about an hour and a half.
Yeah,
That's all I got. Sorry,
he
people.
needs to go refill his coffee. Temperatures into the teens and 20s. It's okay, Chet.
Or whoever you are.
Whatever your name is. It's absolutely fine. A little bit of cloud cover today. Temperatures should top out into the 40s. Pleasant afternoon. And by the way, if you see Chet at Town and Country, call him some other name. I don't know.
Believe me, a few
you've been
people
called
do
plenty
already.
of
Yeah.
names.
A few people do. It even says it right there on the script. It has your name right
Oh
there.
my gosh.
5-letter word. It says Holly right there. You got the first read.
And it's not our first day at the rodeo either
No,
together.
so Holly, go ahead. Yeah.
I'm going to cry. All right. Only 6 days remain for Montana voters to turn in their general election ballots.
True. MTN's Jonathan Amberian looks at what you need to know if you want to get your vote in.
While hundreds of thousands of Montanans have already voted by mail, there's something like 200,000 ballots still out there. With 1 week left in the election, officials say if you haven't mailed your ballot back already, your best option is to drop it off in person.
Just to be on the safe side, we do recommend that it's dropped off.
Ballots must be received at your county elections office by 8 p.m. on Election Day in order to be counted. Most counties are accepting ballots in person at the elections office or another location. In Lewis and Clark County, there is one drop box inside the city-county building and a drive-through drop-off across the street. On Election Day, some counties will set up additional ballot boxes in other communities. Tuesday was also the first day of late voter registration. Those who still haven't registered now have to go in person to fill out the form and get a ballot. In larger counties, state law allows officials to remove ballots from their envelopes and securely store them starting the end of this week. They can start running the ballots through the machines on Monday. With so many of the ballots already mailed in, election officials are hopeful they can have much of the counting finished before the 8 p.m. deadline. In previous years, it's taken more than a full day to finish counting Lewis and Clark County's ballots.
So with it being just a one-page ballot front and back, I'm hoping that with Monday and then Tuesday, I would expect to be here past midnight, but hopefully not a 36-hour shift.
Now here in Lewis and Clark County, election officials say if they get the kind of turnout they usually see on Election Day, people may have to line up outside the building because of social distancing. They're encouraging those who want to come down here for late registration or to get a new ballot to do so this week if they can. In Helena, Jonathan Amberian, MTN News.
Just ahead of 6:33 now in other headlines this morning, an Ennis man being charged with deliberate homicide and assault with a weapon after police say he killed a woman outside of his home last week.
53-year-old Rick Park was in Gallatin County Justice Court yesterday. According to court documents, last Friday, 36-year-old Nicole Watson of Helena was in Ennis for a custody exchange. Police say when she knocked on the door of the home, Park opened with a gun in hand, shooting her twice and killing her. A 5-year-old child was inside. When law enforcement arrived, police say Park was standing by the victim. Police say he admitted to shooting her and then escorted law enforcement into his residence to retrieve the firearm that was used to kill the victim. Park was denied bail and remains in custody.
6:33 now. Montana Governor Steve Bullock talking once again about the rising number of COVID cases in the state. He's addressing the National Guard response in the upcoming holiday celebrations. There are currently 10,000 active cases in Montana, with the state saying 4,000 of those cases reported in the last week alone. 67 National Guard soldiers have been assigned to assist with the COVID outbreak at the Montana State Prison in Deer Lodge for the next 2 weeks. Guardsmen and women have started their duties, which are aimed at ensuring the operational aspect of the facility. With the holiday season right around the corner, states stress the importance of people following guidelines and making plans to help limit the spread.
We're not going to take your holidays away, but what we want to try to do is encourage folks to be diligent and to do these things safely so that we can still continue to celebrate the holidays with our loved ones.
Now for Halloween, people are encouraged to incorporate a mask into their costume and avoid large parties. Also keep trick-or-treating home if they're sick or have been asked to quarantine by their county public health offices.
Well, it's been more than 3 years since Hurricane Maria devastated the island of Puerto Rico and took down most of its electric transmission grid.
Yeah, but the Montana company that had the first contract to rebuild that grid still trying to get paid more than $100 million of work.
MTN's Mike Dennison has the latest on the fortunes of the Whitefish Energy.
You may remember Whitefish Energy, which became the center of a media firestorm when the little-known company was hired by the Puerto Rico Electric Power Authority to help restore the island's power grid in the wake of Hurricane Maria in September 2017. National media suggested the firm had benefited from connections with then Interior Secretary Ryan Zinke, the former Montana congressman also from Whitefish. Whitefish Energy CEO Andy Tekmansky says he got the contract fair and square, and this summer a federal audit confirmed the procurement was legitimate. But the Federal Emergency Management Agency has yet to approve payment that would enable Puerto Rico to pay Whitefish Energy $106 million it's owed for work restoring the grid.
They just don't want to be in the news. So essentially we're still stuck in this political swamp because no one at FEMA wants to do the right thing. They want to just keep pointing fingers at others.
FEMA told MTN News last week it's still reviewing documentation and whether Whitefish charged reasonable rates and should be done with that review by the end of the year. Tekmansky says he charged close to what other line contractors did in Puerto Rico, including one that's already been reimbursed nearly $1 billion, even though its president was arrested for bribery in connection with the contract. Tekmansky also says Montana's congressional delegation has done little to assist him, and that his company has been destroyed by the debt, when it could have emerged as a successful transmission line contractor ready to take on bigger jobs.
Where they should be ashamed is they've cost Montana a lot of jobs in the end. Because everything was teed up, ready to go. We were in pole position to come off the back end of that hurricane and do some really great things and probably be one of the biggest contractors in Montana right now.
Senator John Tester's office says it's pushing FEMA to decide the case swiftly and hopes it will happen this fall. Meanwhile, Tekmansky and Whitefish Energy still await their money. Reporting from Helena, Mike Dennison, MTN News.
Interesting story there. More to follow, I'm sure.
Yes, sir. Well, we've got another interesting story for you coming up here. What do you think is safer, taking a 3-hour flight with a bunch of other people or stopping by the grocery store to pick up a few items? Just ahead, a new Harvard study looks at both.
But first, here's Tony DeCopel with a look at what's coming up at 7 o'clock on CBS This Morning.
Good morning. Ahead on CBS This Morning, the final push on the campaign trail with less than a week to go until the election. Plus, breaking their silence, Gale's exclusive interview with 2 of the grand jurors in the Breonna Taylor case. Hear why they felt frustrated, disgusted, even betrayed by the Kentucky Attorney General. Also, our Road to a Vaccine series concludes with a rare look at Operation Warp Speed's accelerated effort to produce and distribute a coronavirus vaccine without sacrificing safety. Finally, the Los Angeles Dodgers are baseball's World Series champions. Pitcher Clayton Kershaw joins us to talk about the team's first title in 32 years. He was a wee baby the last time they won. We'll see 7.